There is a silence that eventually comes for every man. It does not come when he is busy, or when he is surrounded by the noise of the marketplace, or the demands of his family. It comes in the quiet moments, when the world dies down and the distractions fade away. It comes when the mirror gets too honest. In that reflection, most men do not see a conqueror. They see a stranger. They see a man who has followed the rules, a man who has worn the mask, a man who has done everything society told him to do, and yet he feels a hollowness in his chest that no amount of money or pleasure can fill. This is the tragedy of the modern era. Most men live their entire lives without ever learning the very lessons that would have set them free. They work, they eat, they age, they obey, they repeat the script handed to them by their fathers, their teachers, and their fears. They call it a life. But deep down, in the sanctuary of their own souls, they know it is merely an existence. You are here right now because you feel it too. You feel the ache of knowing you should be further along. You feel the crushing weight of potential that has not yet been converted into power. You look at your life and you see the gap between who you are and who you were intended to be. That ache you feel is not a weakness. It is not a depression. It is a signal. It is your soul banging against the bars of the cage you have built for yourself. It is your awakening. This moment is not accidental. It is the most dangerous and beautiful moment of your life, because you are standing at a crossroads that divides the sleepwalkers from the masters of fate. For the vast majority of your life, you have been asleep. You may have been walking, talking, and making money, but your spirit has been in a state of hypnosis, drifting along with the current of circumstance. This creates a state of spiritual drifting, where you accept whatever life hands you instead of demanding what you desire. Consider the man you see in the mirror. Is he the man you dreamed of being when you were a boy? Or is he a compromise? A diluted version of yourself that you created to survive, to fit in, to be liked, and to avoid the sharp edges of criticism? We are taught from a young age to conform. We are taught that safety is the highest virtue. We are taught to trade our wild, creative, infinite potential for a steady paycheck and a quiet routine. And so, layer by layer, the giant within you falls asleep. You begin to wear the mask of the average man. You laugh at jokes that are not funny. You agree with opinions you do not hold. You suppress your ambition because it makes others uncomfortable. You apologize for your intensity. You explain away your dreams. And slowly, without you ever noticing the specific day it happened, you forget who you really are. You become a character in someone else's play, reciting lines written by a society that does not care about your greatness, only your compliance. But the awakening forces you to confront the lie. It forces you to look at the timeline of your life and realize that time is not infinite. The greatest deception played upon the mind of man is the illusion of later. We tell ourselves that we will become great later. We will take the risk later. We will speak our truth later. We will pursue that burning desire later. But later is a ghost. It does not exist. There is only now and the slipping away of yesterday. The man who waits for a perfect condition to act is a man who will die waiting. The awakening is the sudden, terrifying realization that the clock is ticking and you have been wasting your most precious asset. It is the realization that you have been drifting through life like a ship without a rudder, hoping the winds of fortune will blow you to a port of success, but knowing deep down that without a definitive purpose, you are destined to crash against the rocks of regret. This ache you feel is the separation between your current self and your higher self. There is a version of you that is capable of building empires, capable of commanding respect, capable of generating vast wealth, and capable of living with absolute freedom. That version of you is real. It is waiting for you to merge with it. But you cannot merge with greatness while you are still holding hands with mediocrity. You cannot embrace your future while you are still negotiating with your past. The awakening is painful because it requires a death. The man you have been up until this moment must die so that the man you are meant to be can be born. You must be willing to sacrifice your old habits, your old associations, your old beliefs, and your old identity. This is why most men turn back. They feel the awakening, they see the light of a new possibility, but they are terrified of the cold wind of change. They prefer the warm comfort of their familiar chains. They prefer to stay in the cave where it is dark and safe, rather than step out into the blinding light of their own potential. But you are not most men. If you were, you would have turned this off by now. You would have returned to the distraction of the trivial. The fact that you are still listening means that the spark is still alive in you. It means you are ready to stop pretending. You are ready to stop wearing the mask. You are ready to stop apologizing for your fire. The world is filled with the walking dead, men who have surrendered their sovereignty to their environment. They are victims of what I call environmental hypnosis. They have allowed the negativity, the limitations, and the fears of the people around them to seep into their subconscious minds until they believe those limitations are their own. They believe that poverty is their lot. They believe that struggle is noble. They believe that success is for other people, lucky people, people with different bloodlines. That is a lie. Success is a law. It is a mathematical certainty for the man who understands the principles of the mind and applies them with relentless discipline. The awakening is the moment you reclaim your mind. It is the moment you stand guard at the door of your thoughts and declare that you will no longer allow the garbage of the world to enter your temple. You realize that your thoughts are things, that they are the seeds of your reality. For years, you may have been planting seeds of doubt, seeds of fear, and seeds of scarcity, and now you are harvesting a life of mediocrity. Do not blame the soil. The soil of your mind is fertile and obedient. It simply grew what you planted. If you want a different harvest, you must plant different seeds. You must tear out the weeds of your old conditioning. This is violent work. It is not a gentle process. It requires you to look at your friends, your family, your habits, and your environment with a ruthless eye. You must ask yourself if these people in these places are feeding your fire or dousing it with water. You will realize that some of the people you love the most are the very ones keeping you small, not out of malice, but out of their own fear. They want you to stay safe, and to them, safety means staying the same. But you did not come here to be safe. You came here to be legendary. Let us dig deeper into this feeling of being lost. It is not a lack of direction. It is a lack of decision. The root of all failure is the inability to make a clear, committed decision. The drifter is a man who permits his mind to be influenced by every passing wind. He has no central purpose, no obsession, no definite goal that wakes him up in the morning and keeps him awake at night. He is a leaf in the wind. The awakened man is different. He is a force of nature. He decides what he wants, and he cuts off every avenue of retreat. He burns the bridges behind him. He stakes his entire existence on the realization of his vision. When you reach this state of mind, the universe has no choice but to yield to you. This is not mysticism. This is mechanics. When a human mind is fixed on a definite purpose and backed by a burning desire, it becomes a magnet. It begins to attract the people, the resources, the opportunities, and the circumstances necessary for the fulfillment of that purpose. But you have been blocking this magnetism with your doubt. You have been canceling out your own prayers with your hesitation. The awakening is the end of hesitation. It is the understanding that you are the author of the play, not the actor. You hold the pen. You can write a new chapter today, right now, that completely alters the trajectory of your story. But to do that, you must stop seeking approval. The desire for approval is the death of greatness. You have been trained to be a good boy, a good employee, a good citizen, and in doing so, you have become a domesticated animal. You have lost your teeth. You have lost your roar. The awakening is the return of your primal power. It is the realization that you were not born to be liked. You were born to lead. Leaders are rarely universally liked. They are respected. They are feared. They are followed. But they are often criticized, misunderstood, and judged. You must make peace with this. You must decide that the fulfillment of your destiny is more important than the applause of the crowd. You must be willing to walk alone for a season. The path to the top of the mountain is narrow and solitary, while the road to mediocrity is wide and crowded. Why do we speak of this as an awakening? Because the sleeper believes the dream is real. You have been dreaming that you are powerless. You have been dreaming that you are a victim of the economy, a victim of your upbringing, a victim of your bad luck. But when you wake up, you realize that you are the creator of your own economy. You are the master of your own luck. The external world is merely a reflection of your internal state. If your world is chaotic, it is because your mind is chaotic. If your world is poor, it is because your mind is poor. If your world is stagnant, it is because your mind is stagnant. The awakening shifts the responsibility from the outside to the inside. This is a heavy burden, but it is the only burden that carries freedom. As long as you blame others, you are a slave. The moment you accept total responsibility, you become free to change. Think of the energy you have wasted trying to maintain the illusion of a happy life. You smile when you want to scream. You say yes when you want to say no. You buy things you do not need to impress people you do not like. This is a leakage of your vital life force. Imagine if all that energy was reclaimed. Imagine if you took all the effort you spend on pretending and poured it into building. Imagine if you stopped trying to look successful and actually became successful. The awakening is the gathering of your scattered forces. It is the concentration of your entire being into a laser beam of focus. When light is scattered, it is weak. When it is focused, it can cut through steel. You have been scattered. You have been dabbling. You have been trying to do 1,000 things to please 1,000 people. It is time to focus. It is time to become dangerous. You might be thinking that it is too late for you. You might be looking at your age, your bank account, or your past failures and thinking that the window has closed. That is the voice of the drifter. That is the voice of the ghost of fear. It is never too late to awaken. History is filled with men who found their stride late in life, who rose from the ashes of bankruptcy and defeat to alter the course of humanity. The only time it is too late is when you accept defeat as your reality. Failure is nothing more than temporary defeat. It is a lesson. It is a course correction. The awakened man does not fear failure. He fears regret. He fears reaching the end of his days and looking back at a life of safety and realizing he never really lived. He fears the question, what if? What if I had started? What if I had ignored the critics? What if I had believed in myself? That question is the true hell. The awakening is your ticket out of that hell. We are about to embark on a journey through 7 laws. These are not just tips or tricks. They are the fundamental laws of liberation. They are the codes by which the great men of history have operated. They are the secrets that have been kept from the masses, not by conspiracy, but by the masses' own unwillingness to seek them. Most men want the reward without the risk. They want the gold without the digging. They want the glory without the guts. But you must understand that the price of freedom is eternal vigilance over your own mind. You must stand guard. You must be the captain of your soul. The awakening is the acceptance of this commission. It is the moment you put your hand on the wheel and say, no more drifting, no more excuses, no more blaming, no more hiding. As we move forward, I want you to feel the gravity of this undertaking. You are not just watching a video. You are undergoing a procedure of the soul. We are going to perform surgery on your belief system. We are going to cut out the tumors of doubt and fear that have been growing in your subconscious for decades. We are going to transplant the organs of courage, discipline, and vision. This will hurt. It will challenge everything you thought you knew about yourself. It will force you to confront the lies you were raised on. It will make you question the people you trusted. But if you stay with me, if you listen not just with your ears but with your spirit, you will emerge on the other side as a new man. You will be unrecognizable to the people from your past. You will walk differently. You will speak differently. You will carry an atmosphere of command. The world is desperate for awakened men. The world is starving for men who know who they are and where they are going. There is a leadership vacuum in our society because men have become soft, distracted, and purposeless. When you wake up, you become a lighthouse in a storm. People will be drawn to you, not because you ask them to be, but because they are looking for safety. And there is no safety greater than the presence of a man who is completely in control of himself. This is the ultimate reward. It is not just the money, though the money will come. It is not just the status, though the status will come. It is the sovereignty. It is the ability to look in the mirror and respect the man staring back at you. So I ask you now, are you ready to wake up? Are you ready to leave the sleepwalkers behind? Are you ready to shatter the glass ceiling that you placed over your own head? The pain you feel, that restlessness, that dissatisfaction, hold on to it. Do not numb it with entertainment. Do not drown it in drink. Do not distract yourself from it. That pain is your fuel. It is the rocket fuel that will blast you out of the gravitational pull of your old life. Let it burn. Let it anger you. Let it make you desperate. Because only a desperate man changes. Only a man who is disgusted with his current reality has the power to create a new one. The awakening is your permission slip to be great. You do not need anyone else's permission. You do not need a degree. You do not need a title. You only need a decision. In the coming sections, we will dismantle the machinery of your failure and build the architecture of your success. We will teach you how to master your environment, how to leverage the power of organized effort, how to build a mastermind, how to reprogram your subconscious, how to transmute your deepest energies, how to conquer the fear of criticism, and how to live with the urgency of a dying man. But none of that will matter if you do not first accept the premise of this awakening. That you are responsible, that you are capable, and that you are currently operating at a fraction of your true potential. The sleeping giant must wake up. The time for dreaming is over. The time for doing is now. Take a deep breath. Look inside yourself. Find that spark of defiance that refuses to die. Fan it into a flame, and let us walk together into the fire of transformation. You have lived long enough as a shadow. It is time to become the substance. It is time to become the man you were always intended to be. This is your awakening. We must now confront the first and perhaps the most invisible of all the laws that govern human achievement. You may believe that you are a sovereign entity, independent and unaffected by the world around you. You may believe that your thoughts are purely your own creation and that your will is strong enough to overcome any obstacle. But I must confront you with a truth that most men avoid until the end of their days. You are not solely the product of your genetics or your education. You are the product of your environment. There is a great silent law operating in the universe, a law as real as gravity, which dictates that every living thing must eventually take on the nature of its surroundings. In the natural world, we see this clearly. A tree planted in the shade will grow crooked as it reaches desperately for the light. It does not choose to be crooked. Its environment demands it. A seed of the mightiest oak, if cast upon a rock, will wither and die, not because the seed lacked potential, but because the soil lacked nourishment. You are no different. You are a seed of greatness, but you have likely been planted in the soil of mediocrity. And the tragedy is that you have been blaming the seed when you should have been changing the soil. This law is what we call cosmic habit force. It is the mechanism by which the universe maintains equilibrium. Nature hates a vacuum, and nature hates chaos. So, when you stay in a certain environment for a prolonged period, nature begins to fix your habits to match that environment. It makes the patterns permanent. This is why willpower is so often a failure. You try to change your life by sheer force of will. You decide you will be positive. You decide you will be wealthy. You decide you will be disciplined. But then you walk back into a home that vibrates with stress. You go to a workplace that vibrates with cynicism. You speak to friends who vibrate with doubt. And slowly, your willpower is eroded. Willpower is a battery, and it runs out. But environment is a generator. It runs forever. If your environment fights your will, your environment will always win eventually. This is not because you are weak. It is because you are fighting a law of nature. You are trying to swim upstream against a raging river. The master does not swim against the river. He changes the river he is swimming in. Let us dissect what we mean by environment. I do not simply mean the geography of where you live, though that matters. I mean the mental, spiritual, and psychic atmosphere that you breathe every single day. Just as your body absorbs oxygen from the air to keep your blood moving, your subconscious mind absorbs the attitudes, beliefs, and expectations of the people around you to keep your personality moving. This process is called environmental hypnosis. It is insidious because it is silent. You do not notice it happening. When you enter a room where men are complaining about the economy, complaining about their wives, and complaining about the unfairness of life, you may think you are just listening, but you are not just listening. You are downloading. Your subconscious mind is recording that tone. It is recording that defeat. And over time, without you ever giving your conscious permission, you begin to echo that tone. You begin to expect defeat. You begin to see problems instead of opportunities. You have been hypnotized by the rhythm of failure. Think of the 5 people you interact with most. This is the oldest cliché in self-development, but we must look at it with new eyes today. We are not just talking about their names. We are talking about their vibration. Do they possess what we call the magic of belief? When you leave their presence, do you feel charged with energy, or do you feel drained? Do you feel like a giant, or do you feel like a dwarf? Most men surround themselves with people who validate their excuses. It feels comfortable to be around people who are also stuck because it makes your own stagnation feel normal. If everyone around you is broke, being broke feels like the standard. If everyone around you is out of shape, being weak feels acceptable. If everyone around you has given up on their dreams, then your own surrender feels like maturity. This is the danger of the comfort zone. It is a warm bath that slowly kills your ambition. The heat of the water lulls you to sleep, and you drift into a state of lethargy where greatness becomes a memory rather than a mission. You must understand that the subconscious mind is neutral. It does not care if you plant corn or nightshade. It will return the crop in abundance. If you plant the suggestion of poverty by associating with poverty-conscious people, your mind will produce poverty behaviors. It will cause you to miss opportunities. It will cause you to fear risk. It will cause you to sabotage your own success. This is why the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. It is not just about money. It is about the atmospheric pressure of their social circles. The rich man lives in an environment where wealth is expected, where ideas are currency, where success is celebrated. The pressure in that room pushes him upward. The poor man lives in an environment where scarcity is feared, where success is viewed with suspicion, and where ambition is mocked. The pressure in that room pushes him downward. You are currently living under atmospheric pressure. Is it pushing you up, or is it crushing you down? We must speak of the concept of the reference group. Your reference group is the collection of people against whom you compare yourself. We naturally adjust our speed to match the traffic around us. If you are walking with men who walk slowly, you will unconsciously slow your stride so as not to leave them behind. You do not want to be the outcast. You have a primal, tribal fear of being separated from the group. So, to maintain your membership in the tribe of the average, you dim your light. You soften your voice. You withhold your best ideas. You commit spiritual suicide to maintain social cohesion. But I tell you today that you must be willing to walk alone if you cannot find a group that walks at your speed. It is better to be a solitary eagle than a sheep in a flock that is being led to the slaughterhouse of mediocrity. You must change your reference group. You must find men who are running, men who are flying, men who challenge you to stretch your capacity. When you step into a room of giants, you will feel small at first. That is good. That discomfort is growth. That intimidation is your potential calling you to rise. But here is the difficulty. The people who are currently holding you back are likely people you love. They are your childhood friends. They are your family members. They are the people who have been with you through the hard times. And so, you feel a deep, paralyzing sense of guilt. You think that loyalty means staying the same. You think that if you evolve, you are betraying them. You think that if you limit your access to them, you are being arrogant. This guilt is a chain. It is a misunderstanding of what love truly is. True love is wanting the best for another person. But you cannot help anyone if you are drowning with them. You cannot save the poor by being one of them. You cannot help the sick by becoming sick. You must liberate yourself first. By rising, you become a testament to what is possible. By changing your environment and succeeding, you may eventually inspire them to change. But if you stay in the mud with them out of a misplaced sense of loyalty, you both rot. You must be ruthless with your time because time is the stuff life is made of. You do not owe anyone access to your mind. You do not owe anyone the right to dump their mental garbage into your living room. Consider the great industrialists and leaders of history. They were not born with a superior intellect. They were not born with magical powers. But they were masters of environmental selection. They treated their minds like a vault. They knew that a single negative suggestion, if planted deep enough, could destroy an entire empire. So they built walls. They hired gatekeepers. They only allowed people into their inner circle who were in harmony with their major definite purpose. They created a mastermind environment. A mastermind is when two or more minds come together in a spirit of perfect harmony to pursue a definite goal. In that environment, a third mind is created, a superior intelligence that taps into the infinite storehouse of knowledge. You cannot form a mastermind with people who are drifting. You cannot form a mastermind with people who are cynical. You need to curate your circle with the precision of a curator in a museum. If a painting does not fit the collection, it is removed. If a person does not fit the future, they are removed. This sounds cold to the untrained ear. It sounds harsh. But life is harsh to the man who does not master its laws. Poverty is harsh. Failure is harsh. Regret is the harshest thing of all. Is it not better to be temporarily misunderstood by your friends than to be permanently broken by a life of unfulfilled potential? You must begin an audit of your environment today. Look at every person you speak to. Ask yourself, does this person charge my battery or drain it? Does this person speak of the future or the past? Does this person fear change or embrace it? If the answer is that they drain you, that they live in the past, that they fear change, then you have a decision to make. You do not have to cut them off with malice. You do not have to make a grand announcement. You simply reduce the access. You stop answering the phone every time it rings. You stop spending your Friday nights in the same old places. You begin to withdraw your energy so that you can reinvest it in a new environment. And let us not forget the digital environment. In this modern age, your environment is not just your physical room. It is the screen in your pocket. Who are you following? What voices are you allowing into your head through the internet? If you spend 3 hours a day scrolling through content that makes you feel inadequate, envious, or angry, you are poisoning your own soil. You are voluntarily stepping into a hypnosis of distraction. You must curate your digital feed just as ruthlessly as your physical circle. Unfollow the noise. Subscribe to wisdom. Fill your eyes and ears with the words of men who have built what you want to build. Let their voices become the new rhythm of your mind. Let their standard become your new normal. You can create a virtual environment of greatness even if you are physically alone. You can surround yourself with the thoughts of the greatest philosophers, the greatest businessmen, and the greatest leaders. They can be your mentors if you allow them to occupy your mental space. We must also address the physical space in which you dwell. Look at your room. Look at your desk. Is it a place of order or is it a place of chaos? Chaos in the environment breeds chaos in the mind. You cannot expect to think with clarity and precision if you are sitting in a pile of clutter. The external is a reflection of the internal, but the reverse is also true. By ordering your external world, you bring calm to your internal world. A man with a definite purpose respects his tools. He respects his space. He creates an atmosphere of professionalism, even if he is working from a kitchen table. If your environment looks like the bedroom of a lazy teenager, you will think like a lazy teenager. If your environment looks like the command center of a general, you will think like a general. Clean your desk. Throw away the junk. Paint the walls. Change the lighting. Make your physical space a temple that honors the work you are doing. When you walk into your workspace, it should signal to your subconscious that it is time to perform. This law of cosmic habit force is neutral. It works for the sinner and the saint. It works for the beggar and the king. If you stay in the ghetto of small thinking, the law will fix you there. It will weave the chains of habit around you until you can no longer move. But if you move yourself to the mountaintop of big thinking, the law will fix you there too. It will make success a habit. It will make abundance a habit. It will make confidence a habit. The initial move is the hardest part. It requires a tremendous burst of energy to break the gravitational pull of your old life. It is like a rocket leaving the atmosphere. Most of the fuel is spent in the first few minutes just to break free. You will feel resistance. You will feel lonely. You will feel the terror of the new, but you must hold the line. You must trust that the law is working. Once you establish yourself in the new environment, cosmic habit force will take over and keep you there. It will become easier to be great than to be average. It will become easier to work than to be lazy. It will become natural. So, the action required of you is clear. You must stop tolerating the intolerable. You must stop making peace with mediocrity. You must realize that you are the architect of your own atmosphere. If the air in the room is toxic, open a window or leave the room. Do not sit there and suffocate while hoping things will get better. Hope is not a strategy. Environment is a strategy. You must become a snob about your environment. Yes, a snob. Be elitist about who gets to influence your destiny. Treat your mind like the most exclusive club in the city. There is a velvet rope, and there is a bouncer. Not everyone gets in. Not everyone is on the guest list. If they are not bringing value, vision, or vibration, they stay on the sidewalk. This is how you protect your future. This is how you ensure that the seed of your potential falls on good soil. Do not underestimate the power of osmosis. You become what you are near. If you stand next to a fire, you will get warm. If you stand next to a block of ice, you will get cold. If you stand next to men of courage, you will become courageous. If you stand next to cowards, you will become fearful. This happens without you trying. It happens automatically. So why would you not use this automatic law to your advantage? Why would you not struggle to generate motivation from within when you could simply place yourself in an environment where motivation is in the air? This is the secret of the lazy achiever. He does not rely on willpower. He relies on placement. He places himself in a current that is moving in the direction he wants to go, and the current carries him. You have been swimming upstream for too long. Find the current of success and jump in. As we conclude this first lesson, I want you to sit in the silence of this truth. Your environment is your fate. It is the invisible hand molding your character, your bank account, and your legacy. You can no longer play the victim. You can no longer say, I am this way because of where I came from. You are this way because of where you have stayed. You have the power to move. You have the power to select. You have the power to curate. And if you do not use this power, you surrender it. Do not let your life be a frantic reaction to the random inputs of a chaotic world. Make your life a deliberate creation of a chosen environment. When you fix your environment, you fix your mind. And when you fix your mind, you fix your life. Now, prepare yourself, for once you have established the right environment, you must learn how to operate within it. We must move from the soil to the labor. We must understand why hard work alone has failed you, and how to replace it with something far more potent. But that is the next step. For now, look around you. The audit begins today. We have spoken of the soil in which you are planted, and we have spoken of the method by which you till that soil. Now we must speak of the alliances you form to harvest the crop. We arrive at the third great law of liberation, the law of the mastermind and the sanctity of access. This is perhaps the most emotionally difficult lesson you will ever learn because it requires you to make choices that will feel like betrayals. It requires you to place your destiny above your history. It requires you to understand that while no man can succeed alone, the wrong company is worse than isolation. You have been taught that loyalty is a virtue, and indeed it is, but loyalty without judgment is merely stupidity. To remain loyal to a person, a group, or a tradition that is actively shrinking your soul is not nobility. It is spiritual suicide. The mastermind principle is the central pillar of all great accumulation of power, but it has a shadow side. If you connect your mind to the wrong battery, you do not get charged, you get drained. You get electrocuted. You must learn the art of the mastermind, but even more importantly, you must master the discipline of access. Let us define the mastermind. It is not simply a group of people hanging out. It is not a social club. It is not a networking event. A true mastermind is the coordination of knowledge and effort in a spirit of absolute harmony between two or more people for the attainment of a definite purpose. When two minds come together in this spirit, a third mind is created. This third mind is an intangible, invisible force that is greater than the sum of the parts. It is a separate entity. This is why you can have a conversation with a brilliant man and suddenly find yourself saying things you did not know you knew. You find ideas dropping into your brain that were not there before. You are tapping into the third mind. But this principle works in both directions. When you join your mind with a fearful person, a cynical person, or a lazy person, a third mind is also created. But it is a mind of shadow. It is a mind of doubt. And that third mind begins to govern you. It begins to dictate your emotional state. You walk away from that interaction feeling heavy, confused, and weak. You have entered a negative mastermind, and you paid the price with your vitality. This brings us to the concept of access. Access is currency. In fact, access to your mind, your time, and your energy is the most valuable currency you possess. It is more valuable than gold, because gold can be earned back, but time cannot. Yet, look at how carelessly you spend this currency. You have an open-door policy for your life. You allow anyone from your past, anyone with your phone number, anyone with a grievance to walk right into the living room of your mind and dump their trash on your carpet. You answer the phone when you know it is a person who only calls to complain. You agree to coffee dates with people who have no vision, simply because you feel bad saying no. You are treating your mind like a public park, where anyone can walk a dog and leave a mess, instead of treating it like a royal treasury. You must become the guardian of the gate. You must realize that access to you is a privilege, not a right. It does not matter if you have known them for 20 years. It does not matter if they are blood relatives. If their presence in your life lowers your vibration, limits your vision, or instills fear, they have lost the right to unrestricted access. The hardest truth you will face is that some of the people you love the most are the very ones holding you back. This is not because they hate you. It is often because they love you in a limited way. They love the version of you that they know. They love the version of you that is safe, predictable, and relatable. When you begin to change, when you begin to awaken, when you begin to talk about big money, big impact, and big dreams, you frighten them. You become a mirror that reflects their own lack of courage. And so, subconsciously, they try to pull you back. They make little comments. They ask, "Who do you think you are?" They remind you of your past failures. They tell you to be realistic. They are acting out of fear, the fear of losing you and the fear of being left behind. If you yield to this emotional blackmail, you sacrifice your future to placate their insecurity. You cannot carry a grown man up a mountain. You can barely climb it yourself. If you try to carry them, you will both die on the slopes. You must love them enough to let them go, or at least love yourself enough to distance your journey from theirs. Consider the crabs in a bucket phenomenon. If you put one crab in a bucket, it can easily crawl out. But if you put a dozen crabs in a bucket, none of them will escape. Why? Because every time one crab reaches for the rim, the others grab its legs and pull it back down. They do not pull it down because they want to stay in the bucket. They pull it down because that is the instinct of the collective. Human groups function the same way. The collective instinct of your social circle is to maintain homeostasis. They want everything to stay exactly as it is. When you start reading books they do not read, waking up at hours they sleep through, and pursuing goals they cannot comprehend, you are breaking the pact. You are disrupting the homeostasis. You will feel the tug at your legs. It will come in the form of mockery. It will come in the form of guilt trips. It will come in the form of silence. You must be strong enough to kick free. You must understand that this resistance is a sign that you are climbing. If you do not feel the tug, it means you are still at the bottom of the bucket with the rest of them. You need a board of directors for your life. Think of your life as a multi-million-dollar corporation, because it is. Your potential is worth billions. Now, look at the people sitting around the boardroom table of your life. Who are they? Are they strategic thinkers, Are they visionaries? Are they people who have achieved what you want to achieve? Or is the table filled with jesters, complainers, and doubters? If you ran a real company and your board of directors showed up drunk, late, or unprepared, you would fire them immediately. You would remove them to protect the shareholders. Yet, you allow incompetent advisors to sit at the table of your destiny simply because of loyalty. You must fire the underperformers in your inner circle. This does not mean you have to be cruel. It does not mean you have to declare war. It simply means you remove their voting rights. You stop consulting them on major decisions. You stop sharing your dreams with them. You move them from the board of directors to the visitors' gallery. They can watch, but they cannot vote. This is where the mastermind becomes your weapon. When you clear the room of the naysayers, you create a vacuum. Nature abhors a vacuum, and into that space, you must invite the giants. You must actively seek out individuals who are vibrating at the frequency you wish to attain. This is not easy. High-value people guard their access just as you are learning to guard yours. They will not let you in just because you ask. You must bring value. You must bring hunger. You must bring a spirit of harmony. But understand this. One conversation with a mastermind partner is worth 10 years of study. One idea generated in the heat of a mastermind session can alter your financial destiny overnight. This is the leverage of the third mind. It bends time. It collapses the distance between where you are and where you want to be. But this magic cannot happen if the connection is polluted by a negative member. A mastermind must be pure. If you have 5 brilliant men and 1 pessimist, you do not have a mastermind. You have a dysfunctional committee. The pessimist is like a drop of ink in a glass of water. He clouds the entire vessel. You must be ruthless in protecting the harmony of the group. What if you cannot find these people? What if you look around your town, your workplace, and your family, and you see no one who matches your ambition? This is a common dilemma for the awakened man. The answer is twofold. First, you must become the person you are looking for. Like attracts like. If you want to attract powerful, disciplined, wealthy men, you must become powerful, disciplined, and mentally wealthy. You cannot attract a king while acting like a beggar. Second, you must form what I call the invisible mastermind. This is the council of the great dead. Through books, through recordings, through the legacies they left behind, you can commune with Napoleon Hill, with Carnegie, with Emerson, with Marcus Aurelius. You can sit in a room alone, open their works, and have a conversation with their minds. They will never interrupt you. They will never doubt you. They will never complain. They will only offer their highest wisdom. Many great men spent years in the company of the invisible mastermind before they ever met a living peer. Do not use loneliness as an excuse to lower your standards. It is better to be alone with a book than in a crowd with fools. Let us speak of the subtle danger of the good enough friend. These are the people who are not toxic. They are not evil. They are simply average. They are comfortable. They are the ones who say, "Relax, take a break. You work too hard." They are the ones who tempt you with mediocrity. These are often more dangerous than the open enemies because they disarm you with kindness. They act as sedatives. They numb your urgency. You hang around them and you feel that your intense desire to win is perhaps a bit abnormal. You start to apologize for your drive. You start to slow down to match their pace because you want to belong. Beware of the good enough. Greatness is the enemy of good, but good is also the enemy of greatness. You need friends who make you uncomfortable. You need friends who, when you tell them you ran 5 miles, ask why you didn't run 10. You need friends who, when you make $1 million, ask when you are starting the second million. This friction is necessary. A diamond is polished by friction. If you are surrounded by soft pillows, you will never shine. You will remain a rough stone. We must also address the concept of information access. The mastermind is not just people. It is the information flow you allow into your brain. If you are consuming garbage content, conspiracy theories, angry political debates, and mindless entertainment, you are forming a mastermind with confusion. You are sinking your brain with the lowest common denominator of society. You must treat information like food. Would you go to a dumpster, pull out a rotten apple and eat it? No. Yet you open your phone and consume rotten mental food for hours. You must curate your inputs. You must block the noise. You must protect the clarity of your vision. A mastermind needs clear data to function. If you feed it static, it produces static. Limit your access to the news. Limit your access to the opinions of the uninformed masses. The masses are always wrong. Look at where the majority is going and run in the opposite direction. The majority is broke, unhappy, and anxious. Why would you give the majority access to your mind? Now, how do you execute the removal of access without causing unnecessary drama? Many men make the mistake of a dramatic exit. They tell their friends, "I am leaving you behind because I am going to be great." This is ego. This is foolishness. It creates enemies where you only needed distance. The master operates in silence. You do not announce your departure. You simply fade. You become busy. Your mission consumes your time. When they call, you are working. When they invite you to the bar, you are building. Eventually, they will stop calling. They will find someone else who is available to validate their stagnation. This is the natural way. It is the shedding of a skin. The snake does not apologize for shedding its skin. It simply grows, and the old skin falls away because it can no longer contain the new body. You are growing. Let the old relationships fall away naturally. Do not cling to the dead skin. This lesson leads us to a profound realization. You are the average of the expectations you accept. If you accept the expectation that life is hard and money is scarce, that becomes your reality. If you join a mastermind where the expectation is that life is limitless and money is abundant, that becomes your reality. The mastermind raises your thermostat setting. Every man has an internal financial and success thermostat. If you are set to struggle, you will always find a way to cool down your success back to the level of struggle. The only way to reset the thermostat is to be in a room where the temperature is set to victory. When you stand in that heat long enough, your internal temperature rises. You normalize success. You stop seeing it as a miracle and start seeing it as a baseline. This is the power of proximity. You cannot catch a cold from someone in another city, and you cannot catch the fever of success from people you never meet. You must get close to the fire. You must also be willing to be a contributor. A mastermind is not a charity. You cannot enter a circle of power with your hand out. You must bring something to the table. This is where many fail. They want to be around rich people to get money. They want to be around smart people to get answers. This is parasitic. The true mastermind is symbiotic. Even if you are just starting, you can bring energy. You can bring loyalty. You can bring a willingness to do the work. You can bring a fresh perspective. You must ask yourself, what is the price of admission to the circle I want to enter? And then you must pay it. The price is often the death of your old self. It is the shedding of your old habits. It is the commitment to total excellence. Do not try to fake your way into a mastermind. Real players can smell a fake instantly. Authenticity is your only key. In conclusion of this law, I want you to feel the weight of the gatekeeper. You are standing at the gates of your own palace. Inside that palace is your potential, your peace, and your future. Outside the gate is the noise, the doubt, the mediocrity, and the demands of the world. You hold the key. For years, you have left the gate open, and thieves have come in and stolen your treasures. They have stolen your confidence. They have stolen your focus. They have stolen your time. Today, you close the gate. You lock it. You put a sign on it that says, by invitation only. You begin the audit. You look at the roster of your life, and you start crossing names off the active list. This will be lonely at first. The silence will be deafening. But in that silence, you will finally hear your own voice. You will finally hear the guidance of the infinite intelligence. And soon, one by one, the right people will knock at the gate. The builders, the dreamers, the conquerors. And when you let them in, you will not just be building a friendship. You will be building an empire. Guard your access. Protect your mastermind. It is the vessel that carries you across the ocean of life. If it leaks, you drown. If it is tight, you sail. The choice is yours. Close the gate. Now that we have cleansed the soil of your mind by addressing your environment, we must turn our attention to the seed itself and, more importantly, how that seed is cultivated. We arrive now at the second great law of liberation, a law that is perhaps the most misunderstood concept in the history of human labor. We must discuss the difference between organized effort and drudgery. For generations, you have been fed a lie. It is a lie so pervasive, so deeply embedded in our culture, our schools, and our homes, that to question it feels like heresy. The lie is this: work hard and you will succeed. You have been told that the secret to wealth is sweat. You have been told that the man who toils the longest hours is the man who wins the prize. You have been told that suffering is a prerequisite for satisfaction. I am here to tell you that this is not only false, it is dangerous. Hard work, in and of itself, is not a virtue. It is merely an expenditure of energy. If hard work alone were the key to wealth, the construction worker, the ditch digger, and the factory hand would be the wealthiest men on earth. They are not. In fact, they are often the ones who struggle the most. This is not because they lack character. It is because they lack leverage. They are trapped in the cycle of drudgery, and they have never been taught the art of organized effort. Let us define drudgery. Drudgery is work performed without a definite plan, without a specific aim, and without the use of leverage. It is the act of trading your time for money in a linear fashion. It is the hamster wheel where you run faster and faster, only to remain in the exact same spot. The tragedy of the modern man is that he wears his exhaustion like a badge of honor. He boasts about how little sleep he gets. He brags about working 60, 70, or 80 hours a week. He believes that his fatigue is proof of his value. But the marketplace does not care about your fatigue. The marketplace cares about your value. And value is not created by how much you sweat. It is created by how much you solve. The man who solves $1 million problem in 1 hour is worth infinitely more than the man who solves a $10 problem in 1,000 hours. The first man is using organized effort. The second man is drowning in drudgery. You must undergo a fundamental shift in your identity. You must stop seeing yourself as a laborer and start seeing yourself as an architect. The laborer focuses on the task. The architect focuses on the blueprint. When you approach your life with the mindset of organized effort, you realize that your primary job is not to do everything yourself. Your primary job is to direct energy. Energy is the currency of the universe. Money is simply solidified energy. The man who tries to generate all the energy himself is limited by his own physical body. He has only 2 hands, 1 brain, and 24 hours in a day. No matter how hard he pushes, he hits a ceiling. This is the ceiling where most men spend their lives, banging their heads against the limit of their own physical capacity, wondering why they cannot break through. They try to work harder, but they simply burn out. They are trying to empty the ocean with a teaspoon. Organized effort is the decision to put down the teaspoon and build a pipeline. Consider the story of the great industrial pioneers. They were not the men who worked the machines. They were the men who designed the systems that made the machines relevant. Henry Ford did not invent the automobile, nor did he personally build every car that rolled off his line. If he had tried to build every car himself, he would have remained a mechanic in a small garage, unknown and poor. His genius was not in his hands, it was in his mind. He replaced the chaos of the workshop with the order of the assembly line. He broke down complex tasks into simple, repeatable steps that could be performed by others. He organized the effort of thousands of men into a single, unified purpose. This is the key. Organized effort is the coordination of 2 or more minds, or 2 or more forces, working in perfect harmony toward a definite end. Ford did not add more hard work to the equation. He added intelligence. He added system. He added leverage. And in doing so, he compressed time. He achieved in a day what other manufacturers could not achieve in a month. This is the power you must tap into. But why do you resist this? Why do you insist on doing everything yourself? Why do you feel guilty when you are not physically suffering? It is because of the ego. There is a part of you that wants to be the hero. You want to be the one who carries the heavy load so that you can look at others and say, Look at how strong I am. You have been conditioned to believe that asking for help is weakness. You have been conditioned to believe that using a system is cheating. You believe that real men do it alone. This is the ego of the martyr. And the martyr always dies broke. The martyr sacrifices his life for a cause, but the master builds a life that supports the cause. You must kill the martyr within you. You must realize that your pride in doing it all yourself is actually a form of selfishness. By refusing to organize your effort, by refusing to involve others, by refusing to build systems, you are limiting the impact you can have on the world. You are keeping your gift small because you insist on being the only one to carry it. Let us speak of the three great levers of organized effort: other people's money, other people's experience, and other people's time. The man of drudgery uses his own money, his own experience, and his own time. He is a closed loop. The man of organized effort opens the loop. He understands that he does not need to possess the resources. He only needs to control them. This is a profound distinction. You do not need to know how to do everything. You simply need to know how to find the people who know. There is a famous story of a man who was challenged in a court of law. The lawyer on the opposing side tried to prove that this man was ignorant, that he lacked formal education. The lawyer asked him difficult questions about history, about philosophy, about mechanics. Finally, the man stopped him and said, "Why should I clutter my mind with general knowledge when I have a row of electric push buttons on my desk? All I have to do is push one button, and I can summon a man who can answer any question you ask. That is the answer of a king." The lawyer was silenced because he realized he was speaking to a man who understood the true nature of knowledge. Knowledge is only potential power. It becomes actual power only when it is organized into a plan of action. You are likely suffering from the disease of busyness. You wake up, you check your email, you rush to work, you put out fires, you attend meetings, you answer messages, and you come home exhausted. You feel like you have worked hard. But what have you built? If you stopped working tomorrow, would your income continue? If the answer is no, then you are not building. You are maintaining. You are a caretaker of your own cage. Organized effort requires you to step back from the doing and spend time in the thinking. It has been said that 1 hour of strategic thinking is worth 100 hours of hard labor. But you do not give yourself that hour. You say you are too busy. You are too busy driving the car to stop and look at the map. And so you drive fast, but you drive in circles. You must carve out time for silence. You must carve out time to look at the structure of your life. Where are the bottlenecks? Where are you repeating the same tasks over and over again? Where are you using a shovel when you could be using a tractor? Organized effort is also about specialization. The jack of all trades is master of none. The world pays a premium for specialization. The general practitioner in medicine makes a fine living, but the heart surgeon makes a fortune. Why? Because the heart surgeon has organized his knowledge into a specific, high-value channel. You must stop trying to be good at everything. You must identify your major definite purpose and then organize all your efforts around that single point. Everything that does not align with that purpose is clutter. It is noise. It is drudgery. You must learn the art of elimination. The sculptor creates a masterpiece not by adding clay, but by removing everything that is not the statue. You must look at your calendar and ruthlessly cut away the activities that are not contributing to your main aim. You will disappoint people. You will say no to opportunities. But this is the price of focus. The sun's rays do not burn until they are focused through a magnifying glass. You must become that glass. Let us go deeper into the psychology of the grind. The grind is a trap because it provides a false sense of progress. When you are moving, you feel like you are getting somewhere. But motion is not the same as direction. A rocking chair is in constant motion, but it never goes anywhere. Many of you are living life in a rocking chair. You are sweating. You are rocking back and forth, but you are in the same room you were in 5 years ago. Organized effort requires a pause. It requires the discipline to stop moving and start plotting. It requires you to treat your life like a military campaign. A general does not run onto the battlefield with a rifle and start shooting. He stands on the hill. He looks at the terrain. He organizes his troops. He plans his supply lines. He calculates the risks. He wins the battle before the first shot is fired. You are trying to fight the war of life as a foot soldier when you were born to be the general. Step back. Go to the high ground. Look at the battlefield of your life and ask yourself, where is the leverage? Leverage is the ability to do more with less. It is the application of the Archimedes principle to your destiny. Give me a lever long enough and a fulcrum on which to place it, and I shall move the world. Your lever is your mind. Your fulcrum is your plan. If you have a strong mind and a weak plan, you will fail. If you have a weak mind and a strong plan, you will fail. You need both. You need the organized effort of a disciplined mind working through a strategic plan. This means you must embrace systems. A system is a process that produces a predictable result without your constant intervention. If you are a business owner, you need systems for sales, for delivery, for hiring. If you are an employee, you need systems for your workflow, for your learning, for your networking. A system liberates you. It takes the thinking out of the mundane tasks so that your brain is free to focus on the high-level creation. The message is clear. The man without systems is a slave to the urgent. The man with systems is the master of the important. We must also confront the fear of letting go. Organized effort often means delegating. It means trusting others. It means admitting that someone else can do a task 80% as well as you can, and that is good enough. Perfectionism is the enemy of organized effort. Perfectionism is just procrastination dressed up in a tuxedo. It is your ego screaming that no one is as good as you. But if you insist on perfection, you will be the bottleneck of your own expansion. You must be willing to accept imperfection in exchange for speed and scale. You must be willing to let things break occasionally so that you can learn how to build them stronger. The man of drudgery holds on to everything so tight that he chokes the life out of his own potential. The man of organized effort holds things loosely. He allows the energy to flow through him, not stop at him. He is a conduit, not a container. Think about the concept of accumulated effort. Drudgery resets every day. You dig a hole, you fill it up, you dig it again. Organized effort builds upon itself. It is like compound interest. Every action you take should add a brick to the wall you are building. You are not just laying bricks for the sake of laying bricks. You are building a cathedral. This perspective changes everything. When you know you are building a cathedral, you do not mind the heavy lifting because you see the vision of the spire. But if you are just laying bricks because someone told you to, that is hell. That is the definition of spiritual death. You must connect your daily labor to a higher purpose. You must organize your daily actions so that they mathematically lead to your desired outcome. This takes the pain out of the work. It transforms the work into a ritual. It transforms the sweat into a sacrament. You are no longer working. You are creating. And what of the timing? Organized effort respects the seasons. The farmer does not plant in the winter. He does not harvest in the spring. He understands the rhythm of nature. Drudgery ignores the rhythm. It tries to force a harvest in the winter. It tries to plant in the storm. You must learn to work with the flow of life, not against it. There are times to push and times to rest. There are times to expand and times to consolidate. Organized effort requires intuition. It requires you to listen to the feedback the world is giving you. If you are pushing against a locked door, the answer is not to push harder. The answer is to look for the key. The key is usually a new idea, a new relationship, or a new skill. It is never just more force. Force negates. Power creates. Organized effort is the path of power. So, how do you begin to shift from drudgery to organized effort today? You start by stopping. You take a full day or a weekend and you retreat from the noise. You take a piece of paper and you write down everything you do in a week, every task, every obligation, every habit, and then you look at that list with cold, analytical eyes. You ask 3 questions for every item. Can this be eliminated? Can this be automated? Can this be delegated? If the answer is yes to any of those, and you continue to do it yourself, you are choosing drudgery. You are choosing to be a slave. You must have the courage to fire yourself from the low-value tasks of your life. You must have the courage to say, my time is too valuable for this. This is not arrogance. It is accurate valuation. If you value your time at zero, the world will value it at zero. If you value your time at $1,000 an hour, you will act differently. You will organize your life to protect that value. You must also organize your knowledge. We live in an age of information overload. We are drowning in data but starving for wisdom. Organized effort means selecting the specific knowledge you need to achieve your specific goal and ignoring the rest. You do not need to know what is happening in the news every hour. You do not need to know the latest celebrity gossip. That is mental junk food. It clogs your arteries. You need specialized knowledge. If your goal is to build wealth in real estate, you study real estate. You ignore the crypto markets. You ignore the stock tips. You become a laser, not a flashlight. Organized effort is the discipline of the blinders. You put the blinders on so you can see the finish line without being distracted by the spectators. Finally, realize that organized effort is the only way to leave a legacy. A life of drudgery leaves no trace. When the laborer stops, the work stops. But the architect leaves a building, the author leaves a book, the entrepreneur leaves a company. These things live on after the physical effort has ceased. That is the ultimate test of organized effort. Does it survive you? Are you building an asset? Or are you just paying bills? We are here to transcend the survival instinct. We are here to express the divine urge of creation. You cannot do that if you are too tired to think. You cannot do that if your spirit is broken by the grind. You must liberate yourself from the cult of hard work. You must embrace the philosophy of the master thinker. The world belongs to the organized. The world belongs to the planners. The world belongs to the men who can harness the chaotic forces of the universe and direct them into a coherent channel of power. You have that capacity within you. It is waiting to be awakened. But you must lay down your shovel. You must wipe the sweat from your brow. You must stand up straight and look at the horizon. The path to freedom is not through more suffering. It is through more strategy. It is not through more motion. It is through more meaning. Choose today. Will you be a mule, carrying burdens until you collapse? Or will you be a magician, transmuting thought into reality through the law of organized effort? The choice is yours, and the clock is ticking. Let us stop drifting and start designing. Let us stop laboring and start leveraging. This is the second law. Learn it, master it, and you will never work another day in your life. You will only build. You have now learned how to prepare the soil of your environment and how to organize your labor. You are beginning to think like an architect. But an architect cannot build a skyscraper alone. Before we enter the next chamber of wisdom, I invite you to make a decision. You are listening to this because you refuse to be average. You are seeking a higher frequency. This channel is designed to be a digital mastermind for men who are awakening. If you wish to align yourself with this vibration, if you wish to be reminded of these laws daily, then subscribe to this channel now. Do not just watch, join the ranks. Click the button, turn on the notification bell, and signal to your subconscious that you are ready for the advanced laws. Now, let us discuss the most dangerous trap of all, the people you trust. We have now arrived at the forbidden door. We have reached the lesson that most men fear to discuss and even fewer understand. This is the subject that has been shrouded in mystery, buried in shame, and ignored by the educational systems of the world. Yet, it is the hidden source of all great genius. We must speak of the fifth law, the mystery of sex transmutation, and the critical role of the partner. If you look at the pages of history, if you study the biographies of the men who have built empires, painted masterpieces, and led nations, you will find a common thread running through their lives. They were men of high sexual nature, but they were not men who were ruled by their base instincts. They were men who discovered the secret of taking that raw, volcanic energy and redirecting it into a higher channel. And almost without exception, standing beside or behind these men was a woman who acted as the catalyst for that transformation. You cannot master your destiny if you are a slave to your biology. And you cannot build a legacy if the person you share your bed with is draining the very energy you need to create it. This is not a discussion about morality. This is a discussion about mechanics. It is about the physics of success. You must first understand what sexual energy actually is. It is not merely the urge for reproduction. That is its biological function. But its spiritual function is far greater. Sexual energy is the most potent form of creative energy given to a human being. It is the driving force of life itself. It is the energy of conquest. It is the energy of imagination. It is the energy of enthusiasm. When a man is charged with this energy, his eyes sparkle, his voice becomes resonant, his step becomes firm, he becomes magnetic. People are drawn to him without knowing why. But most men waste this energy. They dissipate it in the pursuit of fleeting physical pleasure. They allow it to leak out through a lack of self-control. When this energy is wasted, the man becomes flat. He becomes dull. He lacks the fire to push through obstacles. He gives up easily. The genius is simply the man who has learned to dam up this river of energy and route it through the turbine of his definite major purpose. Instead of chasing a momentary release, he chases a permanent legacy. This process of changing the direction of the energy is what we call transmutation. But here is the great secret that few admit. Transmutation is rarely a solitary act. It is difficult for a man to transmute this energy alone in a vacuum. He needs a reason. He needs a muse. He needs a focal point. This is the role of the partner. A woman has the power to either ground a man's energy into the earth or elevate it into the stratosphere. This is a chemical and psychological reaction that happens between the sexes. When a man is loved by a woman who believes in him, who sees his potential, and who refuses to accept his mediocrity, something happens in his brain chemistry. His desire to please her, his desire to protect her, and his desire to rise in her estimation becomes a fuel more powerful than any motivation. She becomes the container for his ambition. She becomes the mirror that reflects his highest self. If you look at the man who suddenly rises from poverty to affluence, look for the woman who just entered his life. She is often the invisible hand turning the dial of his ambition. There is a subtle exchange of magnetism that occurs between a man and a woman. It is an electromagnetic current. When a man is depleted, the right woman can recharge him simply by her presence, by her touch, by her belief. This is the mystery of the woman behind the man. She is not behind him because she is lesser. She is behind him because she is the battery. She provides the emotional endurance that the man often lacks. Men are built for short bursts of intense power. Women are often built for long-term endurance and resilience. When the man wants to quit, when the world has beaten him down, it is often the woman who whispers, "Get up, you are not done." If you have a woman who says, "Just quit, it's too hard," she is signing your spiritual death warrant. You must audit your relationship right now. When you tell her your biggest, scariest dream, does she lean in or does she pull away? Does her face light up or does it cloud over with worry? Her reaction is a predictor of your future. However, we must look at the shadow side of this law. Just as the right partner can be a rocket booster, the wrong partner can be an anchor of immense weight. We must discuss the concept of soft sabotage. This is not the open hostility of an enemy you can fight, an enemy you can see coming. The wrong partner destroys you softly. She destroys you with comfort. She destroys you with doubt disguised as concern. She whispers in the quiet of the night when your defenses are down. She asks, "Are you sure that is a good idea?" She says, "Why do you have to work so hard? We have enough." She sighs when you talk about your big vision. She rolls her eyes when you mention your discipline. These small signals are devastating. They are auto-suggestions that bypass your conscious guard because they come from the person you trust most. Over time, drop by drop, her doubt extinguishes your fire. You begin to question yourself. You begin to shrink your goals to fit her comfort zone. You trade your destiny for domestic peace. And eventually, you wake up as a shadow of the man you were supposed to be. You must understand that a relationship is a mastermind alliance. We discussed the mastermind in a previous lesson, but the marriage or the partnership is the ultimate mastermind because it is continuous. You are in this alliance 24 hours a day. If your partner is not vibrating on the same frequency as your ambition, you are in a state of constant friction. Friction creates heat, but it destroys the machine. You cannot drive a car forward if the parking brake is engaged. Many of you are driving through life with the parking brake on. You are pushing the accelerator of your hard work, but you are not moving fast because you are dragging the emotional weight of a partner who does not understand the journey. She wants you to be the man you were when you met, but you are trying to become the man you see in your vision. This gap creates tension. And often, to relieve the tension, the man stops growing. He sacrifices his potential to save the relationship. This is a tragedy. A woman who loves the real you will love your growth. A woman who loves her control over you will hate your growth. Let us analyze the phenomenon of the man of 40. It has been observed that most men do not begin to achieve outstanding success until they are past the age of 40 or 50. Why is this? Is it because they are smarter? No. Is it because they have more time? No. It is because, in their youth, they wasted their energies. They were ruled by the impulse of the chase. They were scattered. As a man matures, he learns the art of transmutation. He learns that the chase is endless and unsatisfying. He learns to value the stability of a loyal partner over the thrill of the conquest. When he finds that partner, the woman who understands him, he stops hunting and starts building. He channels that massive reservoir of energy into his business, into his art, into his leadership. The stability of the home life allows for the volatility of the business life. If your home is chaotic, your business will suffer. If your relationship is a source of drama, your mind will not be free to create. The partner's primary role in the life of a high-achieving man is to be the sanctuary. She is the calm water that allows him to recharge his battle-weary spirit. If you come home from the war of the marketplace to a war in your living room, you will collapse. You must choose your partner with the same cold, hard logic that you use to choose a business investment. This sounds unromantic to the poet, but the poet usually dies poor. You are building a life, not a fairy tale. You must ask the difficult questions. Does this woman respect my mission? Does she have a life of her own? Or is she looking to me to provide her identity? A woman who has no purpose of her own will eventually resent yours. She will view your work as a rival for your affection. She will compete with your purpose. But a woman who has her own fire, her own drive, and her own self-respect will understand your need for focus. She will not take your absence personally. She will not view your silence as rejection. She will view it as incubation. You need a partner who is whole, not a partner who is a fraction looking for you to complete her. Two wholes make a mastermind. Two halves make a codependency. We must also address the concept of access in the realm of intimacy. Sexual access is the highest form of access. When you are intimate with a woman, you are not just sharing bodies. You are mixing minds. You are mixing vibrations. If you sleep with a woman who is chaotic, fearful, or filled with self-loathing, you are absorbing that vibration. You will find yourself feeling anxious the next day without knowing why. You will find your clarity fogged. You must be elitist about who you share your energy with. The awakened man understands that his seed and his energy are sacred. He does not cast pearls before swine. He saves his power for the woman who is worthy of the exchange. This is not about prudishness. It is about power preservation. Every time you engage in a casual, meaningless encounter, you are punching a hole in your fuel tank. You are leaking the high-octane fuel that should be propelling your supercar toward its destination. Transmutation also requires the removal of the possessive spirit. Jealousy is the death of transmutation. If your partner is jealous of your work, jealous of your time, or jealous of your attention, she is operating from fear. Fear kills creativity. You cannot operate at your peak if you are constantly looking over your shoulder, worried about an argument. You need a partner who is secure. Security comes from within. You cannot fill a bottomless pit of insecurity with your reassurance. No matter how much you tell her you love her, if she does not love herself, she will drain you dry. The right partner is a multiplier. If you give her a house, she makes it a home. If you give her groceries, she makes a meal. If you give her a seed, she gives you a child. If you give her your vision, she gives you a plan. But the wrong partner is a divider. She takes your joy and divides it. She takes your peace and divides it. You must do the math of your relationship. Is she multiplying you or dividing you? This leads us to the difficult topic of outgrowing. As you apply these 7 laws, you are going to change. You are going to accelerate. The vibration of your life is going to rise. It is quite possible that the partner you are with today will not be able to tolerate the altitude of your future. This is painful. You have history. You have memories. But you cannot fly with excess baggage. If you invite her to rise with you, if you give her the books, share the vision, and offer the support, and she refuses to move, you have a choice. You can stay on the ground with her and rot, or you can cut the tether and fly. This is the moment where most men fail. They choose the guilt over the glory. They say, I can't leave her, and so they stay. And 5 years later, they are bitter. They resent her for holding them back, and she resents him for making her feel inadequate. It is a slow poison. Sometimes, the most loving thing you can do is leave. By leaving, you honor your own potential, and you force her to face her own reality. For those of you who are single, you have a massive advantage. You have a clean slate. You can choose your partner with full awareness of these laws. Do not choose based on the shape of a body. Bodies change. Gravity wins. Choose based on the shape of the soul. Choose based on the architecture of the mind. Look for character. Look for discipline. Look for loyalty. Look for a woman who respects herself enough to demand the best from you. When you are dating, you are interviewing candidates for the most important position in your company. Do not hire the first person who applies just because they look good in the interview. Check their references. Look at their past. How do they handle conflict? How do they handle money? How do they speak about their exes? The clues are always there. You just have to be willing to see them. Do not fall in love with potential. Fall in love with the reality. Many men marry a woman hoping to change her. This is a fool's errand. You cannot change people. You can only love them or leave them. Choose someone you do not need to change. Let us return to the alchemy of the connection. When the right man and the right woman come together, they form a power couple. This is not a cliché. It is a force of nature. They protect each other's backs. They cover each other's blind spots. They build a wall around their relationship that no outsider can breach. They have a shared language, a shared vision, and a shared bank account of trust. In this environment, sex transmutation happens naturally. The sexual energy flows between them and then flows outward into their creations. They become a generative force. They build businesses, families, and communities. The love between them is not a distraction from the work. It is the fuel for the work. The man works harder because he wants to be worthy of her. The woman supports harder because she believes in his mission. It is a virtuous cycle of elevation. This is the ideal. This is what you must strive for. Do not settle for a roommate. Do not settle for a convenient arrangement. Demand the alchemy. But you must also be the man worthy of such a woman. You cannot demand a queen if you are acting like a jester. You must have your own house in order. You must have your definite chief aim. You must be practicing autosuggestion. You must be mastering your fears. A high-value woman will not follow a man who does not know where he is going. She needs to feel your certainty. She needs to feel that if the world collapses, you will remain standing. Your strength is her safety. If you are weak, vacillating, and unsure, she will be forced to step into the masculine role to protect herself. And when a woman is forced to be the man in the relationship, the polarity dies. The sexual energy dies. The transmutation stops. You become roommates. To keep the magic alive, you must maintain the polarity. You must be the rock. You must be the direction. You must be the flame. Listen to the voice of your partner. Not just the words, but the tone. Is it a song of belief or a dirge of doubt? The voice you hear first thing in the morning and last thing at night is programming your subconscious mind. If that voice is nagging, complaining, or fearful, you are being hypnotized into failure twice a day. You cannot afford this. You need a voice that speaks life. You need a voice that reminds you of your power when you have forgotten it. If you do not have that voice in your home, you are fighting a war on two fronts. And no army can survive a war on two fronts for long. You must secure your home base. If you cannot change the voice of your partner, and you cannot leave the partner, then you must build a wall of immunity in your mind. But this is an advanced and exhausting technique. The better path is alignment. The mystery of sex transmutation is ultimately about the integration of the masculine and feminine principles within yourself and in your environment. It is about wholeness. The man who represses his sexual nature becomes bitter and cold. The man who indulges it becomes weak and scattered. The man who transmutes it becomes a god among men. He becomes a creator. And the woman is the key to the lock. She is the secret ingredient in the formula. Do not overlook this law. Do not think you can succeed in spite of a bad relationship. You might make money, yes, but you will not have peace. You will not have joy. And eventually, the house of cards will fall. Build your empire on the foundation of a shared vision. Build it with a partner who is your greatest ally. So, I leave you with this challenge. Look at the empty seat beside you, or the occupied seat beside you. Is that seat filled by a person who accelerates your destiny? If you are single, write down a description of the partner you require. Not just her looks, but her spirit, her values, her capacity for belief. Use autosuggestion to call her into your life. If you are partnered, initiate the conversation. Share this vision. Invite her into the mastermind. Give her the chance to rise, but be prepared for the answer. The truth will set you free, but first, it might make you miserable. Better to be miserable for a moment and free for a lifetime than comfortable for a moment and enslaved for eternity. This is the price of greatness. This is the law of the partner. Choose wisely, for your choice is your ceiling. We have arrived at the final gate. We have traveled through the awakening of your purpose, the cleansing of your environment, the organization of your effort, the mastery of your alliances, the programming of your subconscious, the transmutation of your energy, and the conquest of your social fears. You now possess the keys to the kingdom of power. But I must warn you, there is one final enemy that stands between you and the throne. It is not an enemy that fights with a sword or a gun. It is not an enemy that screams or threatens. It is a silent enemy. It is a comfortable enemy. It is the enemy that has destroyed more potential than all the wars in human history combined. It is the habit of drifting, and its antidote is the law of urgency. You may have mastered all the other laws, but if you fail this one, the others will rust in your hands. You can have the perfect plan, the perfect partner, and the perfect mindset. But if you do not have the urgency to execute now, you are merely a philosopher of your own failure. We must now surgically remove the cancer of procrastination from your soul and replace it with the burning fire of immediate action. Let us define drifting with absolute clarity. Drifting is the habit of allowing your mind to be passive. It is the failure to make a definite decision. The drifter is the man who lets life happen to him rather than making life happen. He accepts whatever job is handed to him. He accepts the income the market dictates. He accepts the opinions of his neighbors. He is a leaf in the wind, blown hither and thither by the chaotic forces of the world. He may be a good man. He may be a hard-working man. But because he has no central obsession, no definite chief aim that commands his every waking moment, he is consumed by the law of hypnotic rhythm. This is a law of nature that states that any habit, if indulged in long enough, becomes permanent. Nature hates a vacuum. If you do not fill your mind with a definite purpose, nature will fill it with the weeds of indecision. Once the rhythm sets in, the drifter is trapped. He wakes up at 60 years old and wonders where his life went. He did not choose to fail. He simply neglected to succeed. He drifted into mediocrity. You must understand that the devil, or the negative force of the universe, does not need to possess you to destroy you. He only needs you to do nothing. He only needs you to wait. He only needs you to say the most dangerous word in the English language: tomorrow. Tomorrow is the siren song of the drifter. You tell yourself that you will start the business tomorrow. You will write the book tomorrow. You will fix your marriage tomorrow. You will get in shape tomorrow. But tomorrow is a phantom. It does not exist. There is only a perpetual now. When you push your dreams into the future, you are essentially killing them. You are trading the reality of today for the fantasy of tomorrow. The awakened man knows that he does not have time. He knows that the sand in the hourglass is running out with terrifying speed. He does not hope for the future. He seizes the present and bends it to his will. Let us confront the illusion of readiness. Most men are drifting because they are waiting to feel ready. They are waiting for the economy to improve. They are waiting for their children to grow up. They are waiting for more certification. They are waiting for a sign from the heavens. I tell you now, the sign will never come. You will never feel ready. Readiness is a myth. The conditions will never be perfect. If you wait for all the lights to turn green before you leave the house, you will never leave the driveway. The law of urgency demands that you move before you are ready. It demands that you build the plane while you are flying it. General George S. Patton once said that a good plan executed violently today is better than a perfect plan executed next week. Violence of action is the cure for drifting. When you act, you create your own conditions. When you move, the universe moves with you. When you stand still, the universe buries you. Consider the one-year mindset. I want you to perform a mental experiment that might save your life. Imagine that a doctor stands before you today and tells you, with absolute certainty, that you have exactly 1 year left to live, 12 months, 365 days. And then, the lights go out. How would your priorities shift? Would you still care about the criticism of your coworkers? Would you still spend 3 hours a night watching television? Would you still hold on to petty grudges? No, all the triviality would burn away. You would become a laser of focus. You would say the things you need to say. You would do the things you need to do. You would live with a ferocity that would scare the average man. Why? Because the illusion of infinite time has been shattered. The truth is, you do not know if you have a year. You might have a week. You might have an hour. Living as if you have forever is the hallmark of the drifter. Living as if today is your last opportunity to prove your greatness is the hallmark of the master. The habit of drifting is cemented by the inability to make decisions. The successful man makes decisions quickly and changes them slowly. The drifter makes decisions slowly and changes them quickly. Analyze your own life. How long do you agonize over small choices? How long do you debate with yourself before taking action? This hesitation is a leakage of power. Every time you delay a decision, you are training your subconscious mind to be weak. You are telling yourself, I do not trust myself. You must practice the art of swift decision. When an opportunity aligns with your definite purpose, say yes immediately. When it does not, say no immediately. Eliminate maybe. Maybe is the poison of the soul. Maybe is the comfort zone of the coward. Be hot or be cold, but never be lukewarm. The universe spits the lukewarm out of its mouth. Let us look at the law of speed. Money loves speed. Success loves speed. There is a momentum to success that acts like a physical force. When you move fast, you break through barriers that would stop a slow man. Think of a rocket. It needs massive speed to break the gravitational pull of the earth. If it moves slowly, it falls back down and crashes. You are the rocket. Your old life, your old habits, and your old environment are the gravity holding you down. The only way to escape is with maximum thrust. You must generate so much urgency, so much activity, and so much forward motion that you break the orbit of your past. You cannot do this gradually. You cannot do this comfortably. You must do it with a sense of emergency. You must wake up every morning like a man whose hair is on fire. You must run while others walk. You must work while others sleep. This is not about burnout. It is about escape velocity. Once you break orbit, you can glide. But you are not in orbit yet. You are still on the launch pad, debating whether to ignite the engines. Light the fuse. The drifter also suffers from the disease of alibis. He has a list of reasons why he cannot succeed. He is too old, he is too young, he is too poor, he is not educated. These are not reasons. They are alibis. They are lies, he tells himself, to justify his drifting. Hill analyzed thousands of failures and found that they all had one thing in common: a well-stocked arsenal of alibis. You must burn your book of alibis. You must strip yourself of every excuse. If you are broke, it is because you have not created value. If you are alone, it is because you have not mastered relationships. If you are unhappy, it is because you have drifted. Taking radical responsibility is the only way to snap out of the hypnotic rhythm. As long as you can blame someone else, the government, your parents, your boss, you remain a victim. Victims do not have urgency because victims are waiting to be rescued. No one is coming to save you. You must save yourself, and you must do it now. Urgency is also the antidote to fear. Fear breeds in the stagnant waters of delay. The longer you look at the thing you fear, the bigger it grows. If you have to make a difficult phone call and you wait an hour, the fear doubles. If you wait a day, the fear becomes a monster. But if you pick up the phone the second the thought enters your mind, the fear does not have time to germinate. Action cures fear. Indecision fertilizes fear. The awakened man uses the 5-second rule of the spirit. When the intuition says go, he moves within 5 seconds. He does not give his rational mind time to talk him out of it. He bypasses the doubt through the speed of his execution. You must train yourself to be a reflex creature. Impulse to action. Impulse to action. Eliminate the gap between the thought and the deed. That gap is where your dreams die. We must speak of the ghost of potential. The greatest hell a man can experience is not fire and brimstone. It is to die and meet the man he could have been. Imagine reaching the end of your life and standing before the Creator, and beside you stands another version of you. This version is fit. He is wealthy. He is wise. He has impacted millions. He has loved deeply. And you have to look at him and realize that he had the exact same resources, the exact same time, and the exact same opportunities as you. The only difference was that he lived with urgency, and you lived with drift. He seized the moments you let slip by. He spoke the words you swallowed. He took the risks you avoided. Do not let that meeting happen. Do not become a haunted house of unfulfilled potential. You are carrying seeds of greatness in your pocket right now. If you do not plant them today, they will rot. And the harvest that was meant to feed the world will never exist. This is a crime against nature. The law of urgency requires you to treat your time as your most expensive asset. Most men protect their money but give away their time. If a thief stole your wallet, you would chase him. But you let the thief of distraction steal hours of your day, and you do nothing. You scroll through social media, watching other people live their lives, while your own life ticks away. This is madness. You must become a miser with your time. You must guard your calendar like a fortress. If an activity does not move you toward your definite purpose, it is a thief. Eliminate it. Ruthlessly cut out the trivial. You cannot be a major player if you are spending your time on minor things. You must learn to delegate, to automate, and to eliminate. You must buy back your time so you can invest it in your highest calling. The drifter kills time. The master invests time. Let us discuss the concept of burning the boats. When the ancient commanders landed on enemy shores, they would often order their men to burn their own ships. This sent a clear message. There is no retreat. We win or we die. This created a level of urgency that made the soldiers invincible. You must burn your boats. You must cut off the path of retreat to your old life of mediocrity. Quit the job that is killing your soul. Even if you don't have a perfect safety net, commit to the investment that scares you. Announce your goal publicly so you cannot back down without shame. When you remove the safety net, you force your brain to function at a higher level. Necessity is the mother of invention. Comfort is the mother of drift. You are too comfortable. You have too many backup plans. You need to put yourself in a position where you must succeed. When your back is against the wall, the drifter dies, and the warrior is born. You must also apply urgency to your relationships. We spoke of the partner in a previous lesson. Do not wait to love. Do not wait to forgive. Do not wait to express gratitude. People die. Relationships end. If you are holding back your love, waiting for a better time, you are drifting. If you are in a toxic relationship, waiting for it to magically fix itself, you are drifting. End the wrong things quickly. Start the right things quickly. Life is too short for long, drawn-out goodbyes or long, drawn-out courtships of the wrong ideas. Be surgical. Cut the cancer out today so the healing can begin tomorrow. Connect this urgency to your auto-suggestion. When you repeat your affirmations, do not say, "I will be wealthy." Say, "I am becoming wealthy right now." Feel the acceleration. Your subconscious needs to know that this is a priority. If you treat your goals as a someday hobby, your subconscious will treat them as a low-priority background task. You must designate your purpose as critical system status. It must be the red alert in your mind. This keeps your reticular activating system looking for opportunities every second of the day. You stop missing the clues because you are hunting. The drifter is a tourist. He is just looking around. You are a hunter. You are looking for the kill. The hunter moves with stealth and speed. The tourist wanders. Stop wandering. There is a rhythm to the universe. Seasons come and go. Tides rise and fall. But human life is linear in its expiration. You cannot get yesterday back. The money you lost can be earned again. The house you lost can be built again. The friend you lost can be replaced. But the hour you just spent listening to this lesson is gone forever. What will you do with the next hour? Will you return to the drift? Will you go back to the sleep of the average man? Or will you use this knowledge as a catalyst? Knowledge without action is merely entertainment. You have been entertained long enough. It is time to become the director of the movie. The law of urgency is the fire that welds all the other laws together. Without urgency, your environment will slowly degrade back to chaos. Without urgency, your organized effort will turn into drudgery. Without urgency, your mastermind will become a social club. Without urgency, your auto-suggestion will become empty daydreaming. Urgency is the energy source. It is the electricity that turns the machine on. You have built a beautiful machine over these 7 lessons. It is a Ferrari of potential. But a Ferrari without gasoline is just a statue. Urgency is the gasoline. Pour it in, ignite it, and do not take your foot off the pedal until you cross the finish line. As we conclude this final lesson, I want you to feel the weight of your own existence. You are a miracle of biology and spirit. You have been given the gift of consciousness. You have been given the power to shape reality with your thoughts. To waste this gift in a state of drift is the ultimate ingratitude. You owe it to your Creator. You owe it to your ancestors who struggled so you could live. And you owe it to the future generations who will bear your name to be great. Greatness is not an accident. It is a decision made with urgency. Do not tell me what you plan to do. Do not show me your vision board. Show me your calendar. Show me your bank statement. Show me your scars. Show me the evidence that you have moved. The world does not reward intention. It rewards execution. The graveyard is full of men with good intentions. It is full of men who are going to do great things. Do not join them. Join the ranks of the living. Join the ranks of the doers. This is the end of the instruction, but it is the beginning of the test. The test is your life. The exam begins the moment this video ends. When the silence returns, the drift will try to creep back in. It will whisper, "Relax. Take a break. You've done enough." You must scream back, "No! I have just begun!" You must attack your life. You must attack your goals. You must attack your fears. Outwit the drift. Stay awake. Stay urgent. Stay dangerous. The clock is ticking. The game is on. And it is your move. Make it count. Because sooner than you think, the game will be over. And all that will remain is the story you wrote. Write a good one. Write a bold one. Write it now. We have now traveled together through the landscape of the human soul. We have dissected the anatomy of success and exposed the pathology of failure. We have walked through the 7 gates of liberation, from the awakening of your definite purpose to the mastery of your environment, the organization of your effort, the curation of your alliances, the programming of your subconscious, the transmutation of your deepest energies, the conquest of social fear, and finally, the command of time itself through urgency. You now hold in your hands the complete combination to the vault of life. The tumblers have been set. The mechanism is ready. But there is one final, terrifying truth that you must confront before we part ways. The map is not the territory. Possessing the key is not the same as opening the door. You can memorize every word I have spoken today. You can intellectually agree with every principle. You can nod your head in silence and feel the warm glow of motivation. But if you do not physically rise and turn the key, the vault will remain locked, and you will remain exactly where you are. The tragedy of the modern age is that we are drowning in information but starving for transformation. We collect wisdom like artifacts in a museum, admiring them from a distance but never allowing them to touch our lives. Do not let this be another artifact. Do not let this be just another video you watched to feel productive while you continued to drift. This must be the line of demarcation. This must be the funeral of the old you and the birthday of the master. Let us synthesize what we have learned, not as separate lists, but as a single, living organism of power. You must see the interconnection. You cannot practice one law and ignore the others. They are a system. If you try to practice the law of urgency but you remain in a toxic environment, you will burn out. The friction of your environment will overcome the force of your urgency. If you try to practice organized effort but you have not conquered the fear of criticism, you will sabotage your own work the moment someone laughs at you. If you try to transmute your energy but you are partnered with someone who drains you, your vessel will leak faster than you can fill it. You must apply the whole system. It is a suit of armor. You cannot wear the breastplate and leave the helmet behind. The enemy will find the opening. You must put on the full armor of these 7 laws. You must become a holistic warrior of success. Think of the journey you are about to embark upon. You are going to step away from this screen and re-enter the world. The world has not changed just because you have. The world is still vibrating at the level of mediocrity. The world is still addicted to the drift. Your friends will still be talking about the same trivial things. The news will still be selling fear. Your workplace will still be filled with people who are sleepwalking. You are going back into the matrix. But this time, you are going back as a glitch. You are going back with a secret. You know the rules of the game now. You know that you are not a victim of your surroundings. You are the architect of them. When you walk into a room now, you will see the invisible strings. You will see how people are hypnotized by their environment. You will see how they are paralyzed by the fear of approval. You will see it with compassion, but you will also see it with detachment. You are no longer one of them. You have taken the red pill of truth. You cannot go back to sleep. Once the mind has been stretched by a new idea, it never returns to its original dimensions. Your mind has been stretched. Do not try to shrink it back to fit into the small boxes of your past. This is the moment of the great severing. You must sever the emotional umbilical cord that ties you to the safety of the herd. The herd offers warmth, but it demands conformity. The wolf offers danger, but it possesses freedom. You must decide today if you are a sheep or a wolf. The sheep waits for the shepherd to lead it to green pastures. The wolf hunts. You must become a hunter of your own destiny. This requires a level of cold, hard resolve that most men are afraid to access. It requires you to look at your life and admit that much of what you have built is a monument to your fear, not your faith. You have built a safe life. You have built a manageable life. But you have not built a great life. To build the great life, you may have to dismantle the safe life. This is scary. It is supposed to be scary. If your dreams do not scare you, they are not big enough. If your vision does not make you tremble, it is because you are looking at it through the eyes of your past, not the eyes of your potential. I want you to visualize 2 futures. Close your eyes if you must, but see them clearly. In the first future, you do nothing with what you have heard today. You click away. You go back to your routine. You tell yourself that this was interesting, but real life is different. You continue to hang around the same people. You continue to fear the opinions of others. You continue to drift. 5 years pass, 10 years pass. You are older. You are slower. The fire in your eyes has dimmed. You are sitting in the same chair, complaining about the same problems. You look in the mirror and you see a man who's settled. You feel a heavy knot in your stomach, the knot of regret. You realize that you had the map, you had the key, and you threw it away because you were too afraid to use it. This future is not a nightmare. It is a statistical probability. It is where 98% of men end up. They end up in the graveyard of what if. Now, visualize the second future. Today, you make a vow. You declare war on the drift. You start auditing your environment immediately. You start reprogramming your mind tonight. You cut off the toxic relationships. You step into the fear. It is hard. You stumble. You fail. People laugh at you, but you keep moving. You live with urgency. 5 years pass. You look in the mirror. You do not recognize the man staring back. He is stronger. He is wealthier. He is surrounded by giants. He has built a legacy. He has impacted the world. He wakes up every day with a sense of mission. He has no regret. He knows he has squeezed every ounce of potential out of his soul. This future is also possible, but it is not probable. It is reserved for the chosen few who choose themselves. The universe does not choose you. You choose you. You raise your hand and say, I am the one. This brings us to the necessity of the mastermind. You cannot hold this vibration alone forever. The gravitational pull of the world is too strong. You need a battery charger. You need a place where the laws of success are the native language. You need a sanctuary where your ambition is not mocked, but fueled. That is why I have built this channel. This is not just a YouTube channel. This is a digital mastermind. It is a gathering place for the awakened men. It is a lighthouse in the storm of mediocrity. When you subscribe to this channel, you are not just adding a number to a list. You are making a micro-commitment to your own future. You are telling your subconscious mind, I am aligning myself with this frequency. You are curating your environment. Remember law number 1, environment is fate. By subscribing, you are hacking your digital environment. You are ensuring that amidst the noise of cat videos and political arguments, a voice of reason and power will break through to remind you of who you are. I am asking you to join us, not for my sake, but for yours. I am asking you to click the subscribe button as a physical act of defiance against the drift. Let that click be the sound of a heavy door slamming shut on your past. Let it be the sound of a new door opening to your future. When you turn on the notifications, you are setting a trap for your own success. You are ensuring that the next time you are drifting, the next time you are scrolling mindlessly, a message will pop up to snap you out of the hypnosis. It will be a message of power, a message of truth, a message that says, wake up, remember your mission. You need these reminders. We all do. The human mind leaks. Inspiration leaks. You must refill the vessel daily. This channel is your filling station. Do not drive past it, but do not stop at subscription. Engagement is the first step of organized effort. When you leave a comment, you are not just typing words. You are practicing the art of articulating your thought. You are declaring your presence to the mastermind. Write down your commitment in the comments below. Write down, I am an awakened man. Write down, I will not drift. When you write it, you make it real. You move it from the ether of thought to the concrete world of text. You allow others to see it. You allow others to witness your vow. This creates accountability. It creates a subtle pressure to live up to your own words. Do not be a lurker in the shadows. Step into the light. Speak your truth. Find other men in the comments who are on the same path. Connect with them. This is how you begin to build your own circle. The man who comments is a man who takes action. The man who watches silently is a spectator. Stop being a spectator in your own life. We are building an army here. An army of builders, creators, and leaders. The world is falling apart because it lacks strong men. It lacks men who have mastered their own psychology. We are seeing the collapse of systems, the collapse of families, and the collapse of meaning. The only thing that can stop the chaos is a generation of men who have established order within themselves. You are called to be part of that generation. You are called to be a pillar. When the world shakes, The pillar stands. But a pillar must be made of solid stone, not sand. These 7 laws are the process of turning your sand into stone. They are the process of hardening your character so that you can bear the weight of responsibility. Do not shrink from this responsibility. Embrace it. The weight is what makes you strong. The burden is what gives you purpose. I want you to think about the concept of legacy. One day, you will cease to exist in this physical form. Your heart will beat for the final time. Your lungs will take their final breath. What will remain? Will you leave behind a legacy of fear or a legacy of courage? Will your children and your children's children tell stories about the man who broke the chain of poverty? Will they tell stories about the man who refused to be average? Or will you be forgotten, just another name on a genealogy chart, a placeholder who consumed resources but created nothing? You are writing your eulogy right now. Every day you drift, you write a blank page. Every day you act with urgency, you write a page of glory. The pen is in your hand, the ink is your time. Do not let the ink dry up. Do not let the pages remain blank. Write a story that is worth reading. Write a story that will make the angels weep with pride. You have heard the truth. The truth is a double-edged sword. It can set you free, but it can also torment you. If you were ignorant, you could claim innocence. You could say, "I didn't know," but now you know. You know that your environment is shaping you. You know that hard work without leverage is futile. You know that your circle is your ceiling. You know that your mind is a programmable computer. You know that your partner is your battery. You know that fear is a ghost, and you know that time is running out. You cannot unknow these things. Ignorance is no longer an alibi. You are now responsible. You are responsible for the outcome of your life. This responsibility is heavy, but it is the only thing that makes you a king. A slave has no responsibility. He only has orders. A king bears the weight of the crown. I am placing the crown on your head today. It is heavy. Do not take it off. Wear it. Grow into it. Become worthy of it. Listen to me closely. The resistance will come. The moment this video ends, the resistance will be waiting for you. It will come in the form of a distraction. It will come in the form of a doubt. It will come in the form of a sudden wave of fatigue. This is the enemy. The enemy knows you are on the verge of a breakthrough, and he is throwing everything he has at you to stop you. He wants you to go back to sleep. He wants you to forget what you felt here. Do not let him win. Fight the fade. Maintain the state. Take one action immediately. Just one. Write the goal. Make the call. Delete the app. Throw away the junk food. Do something physical to anchor this mental state. If you do not act within the next hour, the knowledge will evaporate. It will become just another memory of a motivational video you once watched. Do not let that happen. This is not motivation. This is instruction. Motivation is for children. Instruction is for soldiers. You are a soldier in the war for your own soul. As we close, I want to offer you a final affirmation. I want you to carry this with you. I want you to speak it when the darkness comes. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. I accept no limits. I fear no criticism. I waste no time. I am awake. Say it, feel it, believe it. You are not the man you were an hour ago. That man is dead. He died in the fire of this truth. The man who stands here now is a new creation. He is armed. He is dangerous. He is ready. The world is going to try to test you. It is going to try to push you back into the box. Push back. Push back with the force of a hurricane. You have the power of the universe behind you. You have the laws of nature on your side. You cannot fail if you do not quit. The only failure is the drift. The only defeat is the surrender. So, here is your marching order. Subscribe to the channel. Join the mastermind. Leave your vow in the comments. And then, turn off the screen and go to work. Go build the empire. Go create the masterpiece. Go become the legend. The world is waiting. The clock is ticking. The door is open. Walk through it. Now. Not tomorrow. Now. This is the end of the lesson, but it is the beginning of your life. Go and make it a masterpiece.